Family therapy. The therapy session was interesting. I wasn't really sure what to expect. I thought she was going to make us look at ink pictures and say what we saw or do trust exercises or something, but all we did was talk. It wasn't awful, but it wasn't really great either. I don't think much of anything got resolved, but I guess that would have been too much to ask for a single session. I drove to the city on Wednesday after school. I met up with my dad and Ryan at the therapist's office. We didn't really talk much before we got in. Ryan was texting his mom, and my dad wanted to wait until we got into the therapist's office. When we did get in, the therapist asked us to introduce ourselves, and then she asked why we had come to therapy, and my dad gave her a quick rundown of the story so far. She asked me how I felt about this whole scenario. Ryan complained, asking why I got to talk first. Because the therapist asked me, so she promised he would get his chance to speak, but that we shouldn't interrupt each other. I told her my only issue is that right there. Ryan is rude and treats me like crap for no reason. He said he has his reasons. The therapist asked him what his reasons for disliking me were. He apparently had a whole list ready. His reasons were: 1. I always bring Josh along as my bodyguard. I told him that is not true. I don't need Josh to fight my battles for me. I've seen Ryan much more by myself than I have with Josh. Josh was only there 2 times. New Year's Eve, which my dad confirmed right there that he asked Ryan if he was okay with my mom and Josh coming to their house that night, or if he wanted to wait until it could just be the 3 of us. Ryan said he was fine with all 3 of us coming. He said again that he changed his mind when we got there. The therapist asked what made him change his mind, and he said he just did. He wouldn't elaborate. Second time was to visit my grandparents, which I reminded him that Josh only came with at my mother's assistance, so I didn't have to drive and be there alone, and that Ryan wasn't even supposed to be there that weekend. He replied that they're his grandparents, so he doesn't need an invite. I told him that's true, but I'm just saying I had no idea he was ever going to be there, so it's not like he can say I purposely brought Josh as backup. 2. I tried to turn everyone against him, and he's tired of being blamed and punished for not liking me. I told him I don't try to turn anyone against him. I'm just trying to get to know my newly discovered family. If he's getting in trouble, that is due to his own actions, not mine. I've been nothing but patient and understanding with him, even when he's been mean to me every chance he gets. And I'm not the one that punishes him for his behavior, so why is he taking his anger out on me anyway? The therapist asked my dad if he's been punishing Ryan for his behavior. He said no, he wouldn't ground Ryan for having heightened emotions. He asked Ryan if he's not being grounded, then what do you mean by being punished? He responded that his dad and grandparents are scolding him about his behavior and the things he said to me and Josh. I almost couldn't believe it. Apparently, he thinks being told not to be so blatantly rude is punishment. 3, he thinks I'm just putting on a golden boy act to try to get his dad's money. I actually laughed at this one. I've seen several people suggest this might be an issue, but I honestly thought there was no way the 16-year-old guy was that concerned about money and inheritance. Well, I was wrong. I said, man, if this is your biggest concern, we can go to Dad's office right now and I'll sign whatever document I need to that waives my right to an inheritance. I truly don't care about our dad's money. Ryan can have every cent. I didn't come from money and I don't need it to be happy. I plan to create my own wealth and success in life. If Ryan needs that peace of mind that the money is his, I will gladly sign all over if it gets him to shift his attitude towards me. Unfortunately, our dad went into lawyer mode and said we can't just do that because my mom would have to be present because I'm a minor and I'd likely have to reaffirm the validity of my choice when I turn 18 anyway. And then he said he doesn't even want me to sign away my rights to anything, so that kind of went nowhere. 4, I was trying to buy his dad's love with the photo album Christmas gift. I didn't even get a chance to respond to this one because our dad jumped in. He was mad. He told Ryan that he has no right to try to decide how someone else perceives a gift. He said that gift meant a lot to him, and when Ryan's older and has his own kids, he'll understand how important those memories are and how much it would hurt if you didn't get to be part of your kid's childhood. The therapist asked if I could explain to Ryan why I wanted to be part of their family. Even though I felt it was a bit personal, considering I'm not close at all with Ryan, I decided to be honest and try to explain to him what it was like to lose my adopted father at 8 years old. I tried to explain how hard it was to be embarrassed, sad when our school or my friend group had father-son events and I couldn't participate because I didn't have a dad anymore. Or what it's like to avoid social media on Father's Day because everyone is understandably posting pictures of their father and praising them for all the things they do and continue to do for their family. And you don't want to have to face the reality that you won't get to make memories with your father anymore. When I found out our dad was my bio dad and that he actually wanted to be a part of my life, I took it as a second chance to have a father again. Ryan angrily said he knows what it's like to lose a parent too. I was a bit shocked because I was thinking maybe he had a stepdad or stepmom that died and I didn't know about this. But no, he said ever since his parents divorced, he only gets to see his mom twice a month. I saw red. He was talking about his parents' divorce. He equated my father's death to his parents splitting up. I probably should have just walked out, but I genuinely could not believe what he was saying. I angrily told him how dare he compare the two events. His mother moved across town. She's not buried 6 feet underground. I told him you can call your mom and talk to her whenever you want. I reminded him that he was literally texting her about the results of a math test he took while we were waiting to go in. Just FYI, he said this out loud to our dad. I wasn't even next to him, so I wasn't reading his messages or anything. I told him I haven't spoken to my father in almost 9 years, and I'll never get to speak to him again. So no, he does not know what it's like to lose a parent. Ryan's only response was, okay, so I don't get to talk? Everything I said went right over his head. Or maybe he's just that big of a jerk that he really didn't care what he was saying or how insanely inappropriate it was. Both our dad and the therapist tried to explain to him that divorce and death are two widely different scenarios, and Ryan eventually just rolled his eyes and said, okay, I get it. Side note. I know some people will probably try to decipher that moment as Ryan was trying to open up and you shut him down. Trust me, he was not. I would love to give him the benefit of a doubt and say he had good intentions, but it just came out horribly. But his attitude, body language, and tone of voice was not, I feel your pain, so much as it was, get over it. I know it may be hard to get that vibe when just reading about it, but if you were in that room, you wouldn't have a doubt in your mind that he was being snarky. I know our dad and the therapist easily picked up on it too. You could see in our dad's embarrassed face, and the therapist remained calm and had a poker face the entire session. But you could tell by the way she was talking that even she was a bit surprised by what Ryan was saying. The therapist asked if Ryan wanted to share anything about his situation with his mother. Ryan looked like he wanted to say something, but was looking at me kind of weird. I took it as a sign of uncomfortableness, so I did what someone suggested on my last post and offered to leave the room if he needed to talk privately to her and our father. And truthfully, I wanted to leave the room anyway because I felt like I needed to calm myself down. But Ryan said he just didn't feel like talking about it at all. So the therapist decided to switch gears and asked our dad to explain to us why it was so important to him that we get along with each other. He told us that he has a brother that he hasn't seen or spoken to in over 20 years, and he misses him every day. He wishes they could be a part of each other's lives again. And when he sees how Ryan and I don't get along, it makes him scared that once we're both out in the adult world, which will happen very fast, we'll never speak to each other again. The therapist told our dad the circumstances were very different because he grew up with his brother, whereas Ryan and I just met as teenagers. My dad said he knows it's different, but one day, hopefully very far from now, he'll be gone and he just wishes we could be there for each other. He actually got really emotional saying all this. Maybe I was just seeing what I wanted to see, but it generally looked like Ryan let his guard down as our dad spoke. He looked almost sad to see our dad so upset. At one point, Ryan sort of randomly asked our dad if he cheated on Ryan's mom with my mom, and did she find out and that's why they divorced? Our dad faced him, looked him straight in the eyes, and explained to him that that's not the case. He told Ryan to ask his mom how they met. Apparently, they met at a summer job they both worked in 2004. He reminded Ryan I was conceived on his 25th birthday in February. He said he doesn't claim to be a perfect man, but that he's definitely not a cheater. He told Ryan he's sorry that things didn't work out with his mom, but that it's not healthy or fair to anyone to stay with someone you're not truly happy with, even for your children. The therapist co-signed on that and explained to Ryan that while it's completely normal for him to be hurt and upset that his parents divorced, that his parents did the right thing in separating instead of staying in an unhappy marriage. Our dad said that even then he doesn't regret ever being with Ryan's mom because she gave him Ryan. The therapist surprisingly said we had a good session. How was that considered good? I don't know. And she wanted us to go home and really think about what everyone said and try to see things from each other's point of view. She said her initial conclusion is that Ryan and I seem to have already made up our minds about each other based on limited interaction, and we think we know who the other is and what our intentions are when really we don't know each other at all. On the way out, my dad thanked us for going because he knew neither of us really wanted to do it. He asked if we would go again, and Ryan said he'll go for our dad, but he didn't want to go with me because he felt like he couldn't really speak his mind. To his credit, he did say no offense to me, and none was taken because I definitely do not want to have to sit through any more of Ryan's analogies. Dad said that's fine, he can go on his own if he's more comfortable with that. He asked if I wanted to go on my own too, and I told him I'd think about it, but I really don't want to. It's 2 hours of driving for me to talk to a therapist for an hour about stuff I've already repeated and ad nauseam online and to my friends and family. I started thinking about what the therapist said and what a lot of people have said on my posts about trying to be more empathetic towards Ryan and the situation he's in. So even though I stand by what I said about him relating death and divorce as insensitive, I did tell him I don't know the situation with his mom, and I'm sorry if I made him feel unheard or unimportant when he brought her up. I let my emotions get the better of me in the moment. Ryan said thanks, and our dad asked if I wanted to get dinner with them. I lied and said I promised my mom I'd be home for dinner. The truth is, I felt like I already had enough interaction with the both of them for one day and just wanted to leave on a neutral note. With all that being said, I don't think I'll be updating for a while unless something big happens. I feel like my posts are nothing but negativity and no progress lately, and I don't want to be redundant. Not to mention, I've seen and been told that my posts are being reposted elsewhere, and the last thing I need right now is for Ryan to stumble upon my posts. I don't think he's the type to use Reddit, but I know my posts have made their way to Instagram and YouTube accounts with much bigger audiences, so I'd rather just be cautious and stop oversharing so much. Thank you to anyone who has followed my rants and story up until now. I really hope to have a better update someday.